Oh my God. Hey guys, how's it going? Sorry, just got a text message by somebody important here from the council. Hold on. All right, guys. So, all right, we are live. Um, got some information this morning. Guys are sitting right now on jobs. They're being told that Commodore is not making payroll. Some of the foremen are being told they don't have paychecks. Some guys aren't getting paid. Seems like this is going to hit J.P. Morgan jobs. So I'm guessing the J.P. Morgan job over on Park Avenue and structure tone jobs. Uh, this I this has happened before with other contractors. From what it's explained to me, is Commodore took a bad hit on a job up in the Bronx. Guys, always remember that when these things take place, it's not the foreman's fault. It's not the super's fault. They're just pawns in the game. Contractors get jobs. Jobs go bad. They don't get paychecks. They don't get paid off on jobs, and then the trickle down effect, right? So this is all happening right now because they're not making payroll. Money's not getting brought in, and that's it. The banks are, they can't cover the paychecks. The hours are coming in, but there's no money going out. The question is, what do we do, right? Um, I've been in situations like that myself back in the day. A couple of smaller contractors that got hit out. My word of advice to you is don't let it go too far. Call your business agents, talk to your shop stewards. If your shop steward doesn't seem like he's on his game, reach out to the business agents. Reach out to Anthony Medeo. Anthony Medeo is your business rep in New York City. You can reach out to Dennis out in local 45 if you have a 45 job out there. Don't make sure you put it. Reach out to someone, call them. If you can't get them, send an email, send a text message. It's a little bit better than a phone call because it's deniability and what the conversation was about. Uh, if the steward's not around, like one guy's telling me the steward's not there, that's a problem. The steward's not showing up to the job. That's another thing. Your BAs need to know about that. You can't complain to the steward after the fact that to the business agents after the fact that the steward's not been there or they're not doing their job or whatever. Um, it's a very tough job being a steward. So some stewards they don't know what to do in situations like this. So people are just doing the best they can. Guys are reaching out to people like me on what to do. The best thing to do right now is document everything. Um, One of the questions was, no, they cannot force you to go to work. Listen, if your check's not there and you've had enough, by all means, listen, I'm going to be straight up with you guys. If you're a good stealing guy, you want to make it out to JFK Airport and you've got experience in acoustical stealings, reach out to me. I'll definitely put you to work. I'll have you to work by tomorrow morning. All right. I got several companies out there. I need stealing guys. Running into a tough block trying to get guys that want to go out to the airport. I understand with the commute. From what I understand, one guy told me there is parking at the terminal now, so you're not parking in that bus garage. You're coming, or whatever the train garage. You're taking the bus over, so it makes it a little easier. There's some overtime out there too. Um, my buddy was out there with one of the companies. He was working for a while, but he jumped on with the city now. Uh, those jobs, you're going to get your stamps. You're going to weather the storm. Hopefully, get through with that. So. There's a little bit of work out there for you guys. MTA classes, make sure your MTA class is up. I just got a text message myself about my Long Island Railroad class. Uh, to all you guys out there, to me, there's no excuse not to have the Long Island Railroad. It is probably one of the easiest classes to get. You call down to the school, get your name on a waiting list. It's an online course, just like we're doing right now with the Zoom meeting. You just click on, you follow through the thing, and you get your certification. It's about an hour long, I think it was, if I'm not mistaken, an hour and change to get that. So if you don't have your MTA certification and you're losing out on the job for that, that's on you. You didn't make a decision to do it. You tell me you can't get home, find an hour in your day to do that. Listen, I could just point you in the direction what to do, and it's up to you guys to figure it out after that, right? I'm a person about equal opportunity, not equal outcome, right? I don't like it when people keep shit to themselves. That's why everything I learn about, I share with you guys because I want everyone to have that same opportunity. And if you put the time and energy into something and you work hard, as long as we're all playing by the same rules, then I think things are legit. It's when things are done behind the scenes, it's just fucked up. People they keep everything behind it and they set their buddies up and their friends up, which is not supposed to be happening. We're supposed to all be working together here. Um, The Commodore thing, guys, is it's a tough one. This is gonna. Commodore has a lot of guys together. I've worked for Commodore in the past. They're actually a very good company. Once again, these aren't the foreman's positions. They don't, I know frustration and you get angry and you get mad, but that's not the way to react to this. Uh, this is above our pay grade. This is the business end of it. So I don't think anyone's waking up in the morning and they're deciding they want to screw us over. You know what I'm saying? They probably took a bath somewhere on a job. Who knows? A bad, something got screwed over, or they just didn't get paid on the job, and then it's going down the pike on them. So getting text messages right now. People reaching out to me. Um, what do we got here? Goes in. Yeah, well, guys, just saying right here. This is the guy right now texting us from one of the jobs. These guys are saying that I was lying, right, when I brought this up, that there was a problem with these contractors. But now they're all realizing that I was telling the truth. Guys, I don't come on here to lie to you. You know what I'm saying? There's nothing in it for me on this. I'm just going to be honest with you. I want you to be informed on what I know is going on and, what the game plan is out there. Just like when I talk to you guys about the merger, they're trying around the council's going to tell you there is no merger. It's a play on words, guys. They're merging the funds. They're going to merge the benefit funds, and then they're going to merge the pension fund. So if they don't merge the council, but they take the money away, then where do we go, right? So as soon as they merge this medical fund, the first thing they're going to do, just like everywhere else in the country, there's not one place in this country where there wasn't a merger where they didn't take away retirement and medical and increase the retirement age. When the International was here, and Paul was in there, and all these guys, they were going to raise the retirement age to 58 or something like that, and you needed 30 years credits to get the medical. Mike Bielo got elected. He helped negotiate that to keep that up to 55. They did a lot of work to keep that number down. But listen, even on Paul's thing, and these guys at the council right now, the man hours are tough, right? The man hours aren't coming in, so the work is out there, guys. I mean, it doesn't take any of us to look around to the work is there. We just don't have the market share, right? So guys are going to tell you and sell you on an angle about this work that's coming up. There's no guarantee. We don't have the work now that's out there. So who's going to tell you about this work coming in the year 2027 when we can't get the work that's sitting here right now? So it's kind of scary what's going on out there. Will there be changes in the medical fund? Will there be changes in the benefit funds? I think it's inevitable. I think they're gonna if the money's not coming in, like expenses have to be cut. I was at the 157 meeting recently, and even Anthony Medeo admitted to it. The local took a hit, right? So we get less members coming in. And from what I understand, over the years, every time new apprentices coming in, we seem to be on the lower receiving end and getting new apprentices, right? They were kind of like over the years strategically lowering the number in the 157 because we were so big. I think at one time we were 10,000, I believe, when Levi took over. And I think we're down to like 6,300 or 6,400. It's a big hit. We're not the biggest local in the country anymore, I don't think. So with that being said, these stipends and the money and the events that they do with the local. He said that they're going to have a meeting and they're going to sit down and they're going to figure out what needs to be done and what needs to be cut. They just had that recent picnic for the families up in up in New Jersey or New York somewhere, which is it's a great thing to do. I think it costs like 40 grand if I remember the numbers being yelled out right at the meeting. Listen, is it a lot of money? Yeah, but to me these type of events are probably important. So I hope these are the things that get cut because we need to have more of these setups where people are together and interacting with family because we have to forget what we're all in this together for, right? That's what separates us from everyone else, right? Like we're supposed to be a family. So I'm a big advocate about breaking bread and having drinks. We don't have to agree to disagree, but I think the guys at the local. Listen, I might not agree with a lot of these guys, but I think they're trying to do the right thing. So I wish them well, trying to figure out those numbers and try to keep what we can going. I know they have the softball team coming up. All these events cost money, right? T-shirts, stickers, all this stuff, and and we're trying to keep guys informed and get guys showing up in the meetings. And they have they like to have the food there. Like, listen, the last time I think this last meeting is the first time I ever ate anything there. I was starving, so I ate something. The food was really good. So, but all this costs money, and this all comes out of the local thing. And if we're down less members now, and I think we're gonna go down more before we go back up. If the market share doesn't turn around. So Let's see, we got some. Guys, if you have any questions about this, please send it to me. Uh, what do you go right there? They're doing work in Dubai, Ireland, and already have non-union company in New York. Huh. Somebody's texting me here that they're doing work in Dubai, Ireland, and allegedly they already have a non-union company. That I don't know about, guys. I don't know if there's a double-breasted company for that company. I know a lot of companies do, but that I can't tell you for sure. There's work going throughout the country. I know people are doing a lot of work in Australia for a while like that. I know Australia is drying up, so I do know there's a lot of work in Dubai going on right now. My fiance actually works for a company that does a lot of international work. They do some high-end work, and they're all over the place. New York isn't the place to be right now. No, they actually are doing the super high-end work, stuff that's even above our pay scale. Your best bet, guys, right now is if your checks aren't coming in the mail. On the job site today, I'm not going to be the one to tell you to walk off a job. That's not my job. I would say don't panic. All right, today's just a day. You're there at work. Uh, Talk to the business agent. Reach out to your BA. If the steward's not, if you feel like the steward's not doing his job, by all means, email me right now. Text message me. I will give you the name of the business agents to talk to. If you don't know the business agent in your area, reach out to me. We will figure it out together. Okay? We got to let that BA know. It's not the BA's fault. It's not he didn't. It's nothing he did wrong either. We got to make sure that these guys are on top of their game, though. Make sure that this is you can't just listen. If paychecks aren't coming in, that's a problem, right? That's what we go to work for. We go to work for the paycheck and a benefit package, right? And when that's not coming in, then we have to reevaluate our situation. Right? We're not doing this for free. I'm not going to be one of these guys at the council on the ninth floor telling you, the sky's not falling, because this is the problem. If you're with a company, this is not a good thing. This has happened in the past, and I remember times where Precision Metal and Glass went under. I jumped ship. I was a company guy with them, and I walked away. I know guys who hung out, and they were owed 3,000 hours in benefits. They did jobs in Hawaii and all over the place. I saw the writing on the wall, and I walked away. I was with another storefront company down at the World Trade Center. Just something didn't look right. We were working a ton of overtime. Paychecks weren't coming in, and then they would get the checks, and then they would. It kept getting more and more sketchy for me, and I just woke up one day and I was like, you know what? I packed my tools up, told them I was going on vacation, which is my MO. If I would tell you I'm going on vacation, it means I'm not coming back. And I made some calls, and I landed somewhere else. And guys I know that stuck around, 15, 20, 30, 40 weeks, and they got screwed out of their benefits. Some guys got screwed out of their last paychecks. I was with Nastasi back in the day. I probably worked on and off with them for 5 years, right? And I got some good friends of mine that got screwed with Nastasi. Nastasi was a good company. I mean, listen, it was a good company if you knew the right people there, but they got screwed over. I knew guys that worked with Cole Enterprise. They were earned by Ernie Chichico on them and everything like that. They were a good company. I know guys who were steady with those guys, making tons of overtime, doing work at Morgan Stanley buildings all around Rock Center. That company went under. Some of those guys got screwed out of money. Nothing harmful to do with them. They weren't getting paid. They lost their vendors. This is the business, guys. This is what happens. It's we don't. A lot of us, we just come in, we put our tools on, we're building a job. But in the '90s, I remember when some of these .com companies went out of business, and right in the middle of construction, things came to a halt. I think when I was an apprentice, the very early '90s, like the Avenues of America building there, that went under. I was on a job with Prince. We were across the street with pump jacks pulling material off the job while the sheriff was locking up the building. We were trying to get our tools out of the building. They were trying to get the material out across the street because the building got locked up. So this has happened before. This isn't the first time, but you got to do what's right for you. I got told today there was a guy working Hudson Yards, right? He got in the union, and then there was no work for him, so now he cashed out on his annuity, and he started his own company. He started a minority woman-owned business under his wife's name, and he's doing all the ceiling work for Gotham, and he's using our guys that are out of work to mandate work. I'm not going to mention names, but that's the problem we have here too, guys. There was a loyalty in the union back in the day. I'm third generation. You joined the union and you had to answer to somebody. That's one thing good about the legacy stuff. Like, when you joined the union, somebody backed you and put their name on the paper to get you in the union, right? Someone sponsored you, and you had to answer to somebody. A lot of people don't answer anymore, so they come in the union. They're in it to get what they can get out of it, and if it doesn't work in their direction, they'll backdoor their way around it, right? So now that guy's doing work for Gotham, and he's using our manpower and our people to do those works. I mean, I don't know how much he's benefiting himself. He still has a tool belt on, so I don't know if they're just doing piecework or how he's doing it. I don't know the guy personally, but this is what we're up against, and if this keeps happening, we're just going to keep deteriorating. They're gonna sell you on what's going to happen now in the next 2027, right? That's what everyone keeps telling me. All the work is coming up. You just look around Brooklyn. Brooklyn's booming with work. There's work everywhere. I mean, get in the car. I'll drive around with any one of you. There's work everywhere. Look at the work they did in Nitro alone with this PAC fund stuff. There was billions of dollars worth of work, and it's all out of state contractors doing it. The two projects by me were almost $4 billion. That's an obscene amount of money, and none of it was done prevailing rate. This is all done with these politicians and people behind the door under Mayor Adams. Where were our guys? How did this all happen? Meanwhile, we're out picketing Petco's in Union Square, which doesn't make sense to me. To me, it almost seems like it's the system is being manipulated to fail in a way, because I don't believe that it could fail at this alarming rate without someone pulling the strings behind the corner. It's like someone is making sure that resources aren't being used to stop certain things. That's my opinion. I just don't think that we were able to stop a lot of things back in the day where we're not focusing on certain things that are more important. We're putting our resources towards bullshit stuff. But like I said, you got business agents and organizers. Some of these guys, their interests, they're going to tell you they want to control the narrative. They're going to tell you that there's nothing to worry about. And isn't that always the same, right? Like they did it with the stewards, right? Right after the election, Joe won when he beat me and Patty Cream. The first thing they did is took the guys you're right away from doing your 39 hours a month. That was already put into play. The same thing with the B rate into the wall and ceiling. It created no new market share, nothing. No new market share. It undermined the system we already have. Two-tier systems in the union don't work. Once again, like this guy who jumped ship and went to work for Gotham. Like, what's the point now? You're betting people against each other, and there's always going to be that guy in the room saying, you're a guy, you're working non-union, you're getting the union. Now I know more than the other guy, but I'm getting paid less. And I saw it with the apprentices. Apprentices were furious, and I don't blame apprentices. I'm in an apprenticeship program. I got 3-4 years, and now you bring a guy in the door, he's making more than me, and I know more than him. That's it animosity, because it causes fucking stress upon people. People are like, fuck this guy, I'll go do my own thing. And you start taking away, you start undermining the benefit package. Why would you bother? Just like, I don't know what the international plan is. If they start like they do with Westchester and Long Island, when they merge the funds, like I said, guys, once again, the district council, the named district council might still be there, but it won't happen overnight, right? They got Barbara Jones down there, and it's all being put into play to merge everything around. Like even this guy McCabe or whatever his name was, when they prosecuted Sal and Paul, to the two ADAs that were on those cases, they both work for the council now, right? One guy works for the international, one works for the council. Goes to figure, right? They leave, they get jobs at the council. It's fucking amazing, right? There's so much money involved in this. They both got $1 million a year jobs now. They're there to get rid of this consent decree, right? So when this thing does happen for us guys, they're going to turn around, and their plan is to go after the funds, right? So when they merge this money out, and the pension fund now goes to this Northeast Regional. Don't be stupid. The council is owned by the benefit funds. So all it takes at that point is trustee support, all right? And the trustees will make a decision down the road. And all it's going to take is 2 or 3 years or 5 years from now for them to decide that they want to diversify the funds and they don't want all this capital in real estate holdings. And that's it. The building's gone. That's it. That's all it takes. And they just work a deal out with the trustees. and there'll be fucking money falling off that table in that deal because the building's worth a ton of money. Will it happen in the next 5 to 10 years? Who knows? I don't know. I don't know what goes on behind the scene, but believe me, guys, there's not stupid people that are planning this out. This didn't just happen today. This has been in the play for the last 10 years. Barbara Jones is there. They got the stipulation and order away. There's no forensic audits done to the benefit funds. There's no forensic audits. There's no outside forensic audits. There's an audit done, but not a forensic audit. There's no forensic audit done to the pension fund. That's why I don't understand how there's no monitoring ship of the benefit funds, right? So there's no way to monitor it. Rich Green has no monitoring of the benefit funds. He cannot monitor the funds. He does his investigations. I think he does the best he can with him and his guys. They're limited to what they could do. They're limited to the resources. Sometimes they'll go fuck himself. Or, he's like almost like a cop now. They tell cops to go fuck themselves. There's really nothing they can do about it. I hate to use profanity like that, but it's the truth, right? So these guys, they're only limited to what they could do going after it. And that's what I'm saying. They can only react if they have the information being given to them. A lot of you guys call me with your problems. And like I try to tell people, I'll listen to you. I'll give you direction. But I can't be the whistleblower for you. I can't be, taking on every fight for everybody. Some of you have to stand up for yourself. This is your livelihood. This is your union. And if we don't start fighting together, there will be no union left for us. The guys that are down there, the cheerleaders down there at the council, remember, they're cheering for themselves. They're not cheering for you guys. They got their double pensions. They got their, I guarantee you there'll be some fucking thing worked out with the international. They'll end up with lifetime medical. These guys aren't going to sell themselves out. And a lot of those guys, they got to work the 62 anyway to get their international pension. Some of them will bail out at 55, and then they shelf their pension. They can't collect it. They just wait until their international kicks in. They're fully vested after 5 years. And I think their international pension is like 3.5% of their gross salary. So you guys do the math. It's huge fucking numbers that they're getting. I know the top 3 guys, they changed something. They get a little bit more now. That's some crazy number, like 6 or 12%. So, the president, the EST, and the vice president, they get tremendous pensions. You got other guys that down at the council, these guys, 3-4 pensions they're walking out the door with. It's unbelievable, So, when you put that type of thing, your issues aren't their issues. They're making themselves good, and they could swing and dance you along the way. That's going to be the problem. My problem down the road, I think, is if we take away the lifetime medical from these guys, right? Think of this, right? So now a guy who retires, what's stopping that guy from going non-union? If he gets caught, he's going to lose his lifetime medical. You take that guy's lifetime medical away. How do I put the genie back in the bottle? How do I do that? These and guys are going to be bitter because I'm a contractor. I'm paying you. I'm a guy like me. I worked my whole life. I'm paying $15 an hour for say $40,000 a year for medical coverage. Part of that agreement was that I'm paying for the retirees and their families, right? Everyone, all the belly button counts that are on these pension plans and medical. And now here it is, my time to retire, and you're telling me there's no medical for me. So now I'm going to walk away pissed off. What do you think I'm going to do? I'm going to start banking cash. Right now, I got to cover this medical, right? I got to cover this Cobra plan or whatever, $2,000 a year, $20,000 a year. How do you think I'm going to do that? I'm 50-something years old. What do you think I'm going to go do? Drive a fucking Uber? No, I'm a contractor. That's what I do for a living. So these guys are going to go back to work, and they're going to start working for these non-union companies, or they're going to freelance, and they're going to make money. And they're going to walk away from the union. They're going to give their cards up. And it's really, you have no way to govern them or stop them. You can't stop their pensions, and there's no more medical to pull from, so how do you stop these guys from doing it? So this is something that the international and the guys, I hope it powers to be, think about it. If you turn around and you take this away from them, there's no way to keep these guys in the lane. It's going to be a free-for-all. So I just hope that doesn't happen. And not only that, I'm a big advocate that, we owe our retirees that. Under my watch, that would be the last thing happen. I would cut costs across the board. Listen, if I had to do it with less manpower at that council and utilize people in certain fields and have people do extra stuff, whatever I have to do to keep that medical, I think that it's highly important. We can't take our members and promise them something and put it on a chopper block and take it away. It's not the way we operate. For a younger generation coming into this business, the key thing you look into this industry is the medical coverage, your annuity, your pension, And if they don't see that, I've said this before 100 times, right? If they don't see a future, they're going to backdoor us. They're going to be like, you know what? I'm not staying around. They'll come in, they'll play with the game, but they're going to take the sanitation test. They're going to take the fire department test. They're going to find another avenue and get out of here. There's not going to be a lot of people sticking around to do this for a living. And the company, the business will suffer. Like right now, I believe it's suffering right now because every time we get one of these economical slowdowns, we lose good skilled trade workers because people, they're just like, guys, everyone I talk to, like, I got 3 years left. I just talked to a guy, James, today, 3 years left, he's out. You know, we're going to lose a guy that's running work. You know, he's a good carpenter, you know, excellent foreman. And, you know, he's got 3 more years, he's done. He's leaving. So now all my apprentices coming into the industry, because it's so slow right now, they're not working with a guy like Jimmy. So they're not on a job learning from a guy with his 30 plus years in the industry. A guy that, you know, guy that's going to, that knows the in and outs of the industry. So that kid's coming in now, he's going to learn from the guy with 15 years of business. You know, and we do got guys with 15 years that are good, but like I said, I've been in the business 36 years, and I'm the third generation, and I don't stop learning in this industry. And I love teaching younger kids how to do stuff and how to handle stuff and how to stand up for themselves in the business, which is important. So we got more text messages coming in, guys. More messages. What's going on here? This is another Joey. Okay. I'll answer these questions later, guys. This is extra stuff here. All right. Well, this is one of you guys here talking about not having your medical up to date. Uh, if you're having a problem with your medical, guys, I know you people getting direct payment. You got to get access to your thing on your website. Print up all your paycheck stubs. Get all those stubs. Contact me if you can't figure out who your BA is about. If you have to go over to steward's head, you go over to steward's head. You got to call someone down in member services. You got to call someone down to council. If you're that far behind on your benefits, we're talking 1,000 hours here. That's a lot of hours. All right. If that's the issue, then you got to get your information. What you need to do right away is contact the business agent, right? And if you can't get in touch with the business agent, call Anthony Medeo down at the council. Okay, he's the regional rep, and you give him your job location and the company you're working for. He'll help you figure out who the BA is involved and what's going on, and the steward. You're not screwing anybody by doing this. You're worrying about yourself. Okay, if you're that far behind on benefits, you need to straighten that out, and that's their job. So he's not going to break your chops about it. He's not going to throw you into the table. Call me and I'll give you his number. If you don't have it already, or just call down to the local, or go on the website. You'll find it. I don't have Anthony. I don't want to give it out here over the thing, but because we know who else is listening to it. But reach out to me and then get to him. But make sure you have information. Write down the hours you're missing, the weeks, the days. Get all that written down. Okay. If you were on jobs with shop stewards, if you have job locations where you're working, if you're moving around, write that stuff down. If you have a cell phone, guys, you can go into your phone, into your Google account, and it'll log you in and show you, because your phone's tracking if you guys don't realize it. It'll tell you where you were in certain jobs. Write that information down. All the information you give him, and when they write this up, when they go, this is all going to help you. All right. Get copies of those paycheck stubs. That's a key thing. I don't understand how to log into somebody's account. I know I work with a company, Champion. They did the same thing. It took me a time to realize how to do it. You can get in there. If you're not working for the company and you don't have access to them more, I don't know anymore what to do. But your best bet would be then is to do what I'm telling you. Just go on your phone, write down the list of where the jobs you were, get that information, write it, screenshot it, get into a thing and email it to Anthony or text it to him so he has something to work with. You're not just coming in here empty-handed. If you're 1,000 hours behind, you should have been making the call and blowing the whistle on that a long time ago. That's a problem, guys. 1,000 hours is no joke. That's your pension. That's your annuity. That's a credit. That's a pension credit right there. That's yeah. If you wanna, I'm gonna text you when I get off this phone, and then yeah. Okay, this guy's not going confused. All right, so yeah, you can have your wife call me. I don't have a problem with that. You can have your wife call, and I'll tell her what to do. All right, that's not a problem at all. I don't mind doing that at all. I get it. Some people not all of us are computer savvy. And believe me, guys, I push a lot of buttons until I figure out how this stuff to work. It's process of elimination. Used to call my brother, and my fiance helped me with this stuff, and I'm a process of learning every day. They change the format on this, and it takes me a little time to figure out how to fire it back up. I have to write stuff in the descriptions back at each. You should just click live, and away you could go. All right. I don't want to keep these meetings more than 30 when we get on here. I am going to start doing some podcasts I can talk to you guys about. If anyone else is interested in meeting up with me, I got some retirees that are very interested. I'm probably going to shoot one at a cafe out in Brooklyn. Was trying to get this set up. I have a little setup right here. You can see it right there. See it right here in the corner. I got myself all set up with a lighting gear and a microphone. So I'm going to do some interviews. I might even set something outside the council one day and talk to you guys out on the street and get our members' views on what's going on and get, talk to some of the apprentices that are going into the school, try to get an on the street interview on what's going on with people and how they feel about the industry and what they think, they need to learn to get ahead. Helping these kids out to get the right tools and get started in the industry is important. Remember, when you're on a job, don't be afraid to talk to these apprentices, give them a little, insight on what's going on. Don't discourage them. Listen, we all know the business sucks, right? We all say it, but we're all still here. So believe me, guys, I had no intention of doing this the rest of my life. It was only a part-time gig, and here I am 36 years later. There's opportunity in this industry. I believe there's tons of opportunity, and if you're in the right place at the right time and you use all your resources around you, you can make a good living in this business. I still believe that, but just don't do it on the backbone of another member. That's my opinion. All right, guys, get your paychecks together. If you're on a job and your check didn't show up today and you're pissed and you want to walk, there ain't a fucking thing nobody can do with it. Grab your tools and leave. That's my opinion. If you're going to walk off the job, don't leave your tools. Take your tools with you. But before you don't use your head, don't get emotional. Your best bet is don't get angry first. Think about it, because we all react, and usually when you react in anger, you usually make the wrong decisions. And you take it from a guy like me. I made some wrong decisions in life when you get pissed off, and it's not the right way to be. So I would just take a deep breath. Don't start screaming at the foremen. Don't start screaming at the shop. These guys didn't go out of their way to do this, and it's not the owner's fault too. I mean, listen, bad business decisions are made. I'm pretty sure, they don't go into business to lose money, right? They go into business to make money. Something went bad, whether it was a bad job or another contractor isn't paying them or a developer, and this is the snowball effect, right? And the old saying, guys, right? Shit goes downhill. Well, we're at the bottom of the fucking hill. So unfortunately, we're the ones that got to navigate through this. So if you're 1 week behind, it's not the end of the world. I know it's a big hit for a lot of you guys, but don't let it be 2 or 3 weeks, right? So document your paperwork, reach out to your business agent, get your text message over to me. Actually, I got a couple right here. I'll speak to you guys offline because I don't want to share people's personal information on what's going on with that. And we'll figure it out. This isn't the first time this has happened to us. When the economy takes a dive like this happens. This can happen in the height of an economy. Bad decisions happen in businesses, and that's the risk of being in business. That's why a lot of these contractors, people don't realize when things go bad. And owning a business is tough. I've been in it myself, like seeing how people run things. Like when it's good, and when it turns to shit, it turns to shit. So let's try to figure out, navigate through those stuff and figure out the best way out so everyone survives and we can move on. So if you're a stealing guy, you got a stealing woman, either way, you're looking for work, and you're an apprentice, first, second, or third, and you're looking for work, you're willing to travel out to the airport, hit me up. Reach out to me. I'll get you, especially if you're an apprentice, I'll get your SWAC paid for. I'll get you out there. And if you were an apprentice, I put you out there and someone screwed you over and didn't pay for the SWAC, reach back out to me. I've just helped a couple of people get their SWAC straightened out. They made some apprentices pay for it, and I got involved because that wasn't the deal made, and I stand behind what I say, so they're not going to backdoor you guys. So, don't worry about the fucking VA. I'll handle it, because these companies are playing games, and they ask me to help them out, and do the footwork and talk to apprentices and weed people out. They're not going to screw you guys out of a SWAT card and bang apprentices out for $500. I won't allow it. So, and I straighten these foremen out. It's bullshit. We're not going to let that slide. So, as far as the journeyman go, if you're a ceiling guy, I could probably get you SWAT too, because that's how desperate they are for good ceiling guys. We got young guys out there that got some experience running big construction jobs, and you want to tip your hat and get into the game. let me know. I got a couple of guys interviewed with about 3 different companies, and one guy from New Jersey, I believe he's just got hired. He just got hired with a decent company. I'm not going to say which company, but he looks like he landed a good gig, which is going to be good for us, right? So I helped him out. Hopefully he returns the favor down the road, and we keep the wheels moving on this train or this bus, you want to call it. Let's hope we can find a way through this, and hopefully the economy comes back and people start stepping up the game, and we can fight for this work back out there. Like I said, the work is there, guys. It's just whether or not we're fighting for it is the question. And that's everybody. There's no one person to blame in this. We're all to blame in this. So we all have to get out there and figure out a way, put a stop to this. Whether it's going to be more demonstrations, more pickets, or whatever it's going to be. Maybe that's what needs to be done. Maybe we need to step up our game a little bit. Let people know that this is our city, that we're not going to just stand back and let it just fall apart. All right, everyone. Listen, have a good day. I got some stuff to do. And if you have any questions, please reach out to me. I'll talk to you all soon. Bye.